where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
Internet sleuths have been speculating for years that Bieber and Diddy's connection during that time was shady, but the Biebs have never addressed this. Perhaps because he was afraid of Diddy, the big villain.
He knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Diddy's lawsuit is exploding. Finally, Justin has disclosed the horrors he experienced as a child.
It was hard for me being that young.
Pick your jaws up off the floor. Besties, we're just getting started. Before the timeline started giving full-blown problematic, and long before cancel culture came knocking on Diddy's entire career, a 15-year-old Justin Bieber was stepping into his era as the main character. Let's rewind. Bieber was that guy. Discovered. At just 14 by Scooter Braun. Yeah, that's Scooter, but we'll save that drama for another episode. Backed by Usher, who, spoiler alert, also has his own complicated backstory, Bieber morphed from a YouTube cover kid to a full-fledged global pop obsession in the blink of an eye. And through Usher, enter Sean Diddy Combs. At the time, Diddy was music industry royalty, the definition of mogul energy. He had bad boy records, god-tier influence, and a Rolodex that could make even A-listers sweat. Their relationship kicked off around 2009. Bieber was fresh out the gate, and Diddy was deep in his throne-sitting era. The early vibes? Think mentor meets prodigy. On October 14, 2009, Bieber, deep in his Notice Me Senpai phase, tweeted Diddy, "Have a song. I produced for it, I am Diddy. Everyone tell him he needs to. Let me do something for his album. That would be crazy. Get at me, Diddy? Haha." Yes, it's giving major 2009 social media nostalgia. Baby Bibs was literally a stan trying to collab with his idol. But then, the plot thickens. A now infamous YouTube video titled Justin Bieber's 48 HRS with Diddy was posted to Bieber's channel in November 2009. At face value, it looked like harmless mentor bonding. Diddy even says it was definitely a 15-year-old's dream. Cute, right? Well, not exactly, because in that same video, Diddy cryptically says, "Where are we hanging out and what we're doing? We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream." And that, besties, is the kind of sketchy quote that sends TikTok sleuths spiraling and YouTubers making 45-minute exposés with red string on corkboards. Yikes doesn't even begin to cover it.
They're having the times of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose. But it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me.
The vibes went from sketchy to downright cursed when Diddy told teen Bieber he'd let him drive his Lamborghini at 16, and casually added he'd hand over the keys to his mansion when Bieber turned 18. It's giving major if you know energy, and not in a good way. But then, things took a turn for the fully unhinged. When Diddy asked what Bieber wanted to do during their 48 hours together, Bieber, barely 15, said, "Let's just go get some girls." Diddy's response? "The man after my heart." That's what I'm talking about, kid. Today's comment section? Absolutely insane.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right, okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah. Their collab era rolled right into 2010, and at the time, it was giving full main character alliance. In February, Bieber and Diddy teamed up with Sean Kingston at the SOS Saving Ourselves Help for Haiti benefit concert in Miami, putting their mentorship on public display. By July, Diddy made good on his bizarre 2009 promise. Bieber was spotted whipping Diddy's Lamborghini like it was no big deal. Back then, it read as cool, rich mentor. Moment. In hindsight, it's giving major groomer energy. Fast forward to December 2010, the duo reunited to film promo for Diddy's album Last Train to Paris, but something felt off. The vibe check failed when Diddy gifted Bieber a Bad Boy Entertainment Letterman jacket, peak industry clout at the time, before asking why they hadn't been hanging out lately. Bieber's reply? Awkward silence, followed by an, I don't think you have my number. Energy. It screamed trying to create distance. And honestly, TikTok body language. Experts would have a field day breaking it down frame by frame. Then came the most chronically online moment of all, February 2011. A 16-year-old Bieber and Diddy appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, where Diddy played the role of protective big bro, calling Bieber his little brother and waxing poetic about how the industry looks out for its own. But then came that line, the one that lives rent-free in our collective trauma. He knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Yeah, that one would break Twitter today. A walking red flag. The kind of comment that gets dissected in a 10-part true crime podcast.
Got me a Lamborghini. And
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
The vibes? Absolutely cursed. Before the timeline spiraled into full-blown problematic territory and cancel culture came for Diddy's entire legacy, a 15-year-old Justin Bieber was just entering his main character origin story. Discovered on YouTube at 14 by Scooter Braun, who deserves his own exposé, but we'll table that tea. Justin was signed by Usher, who's also been side-eyed for his Diddy proximity, and rocketed from small-town Canadian cover singer to international teen. Heartthrob in what felt like seconds. That's when Diddy, Sean Combs, hip-hop mogul, founder of Bad Boy Records, and master of industry power plays, entered the chat. Their relationship began around 2009, with Diddy in his peak mogul godfather era, and Bieber still in his please notice me senpai phase. On October 14, 2009, Baby Bibbs tweeted, "Have a song I produced for it. I am Diddy. Everyone tell him he needs to. Let me do something for his album. That would be crazy. Get at me, Diddy, haha." It's giving chaotic 2009 Twitter energy. Back then, it was just a kid fangirling over an industry icon. But in hindsight, the power imbalance is glaring. Then came the YouTube video that would haunt the internet forever. Justin Bieber's 48 HRS with Diddy, posted in November 2009. At face value, it's two celebs vibing. But one particular line turned it into a TikTok-era true crime exhibit. Diddy, where are we hanging out and what are we doing? We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. Yeah, that line, a comment section scorcher. It's been endlessly dissected by conspiracy theorists and commentary channels. It's the kind of soundbite that gets turned into a 12-part docuseries narrated in a hushed, investigative tone. But it didn't stop there. Things got even more off when Diddy promised Justin he could drive his Lamborghini at 16 and use the mansion when he turned 18. If your spine just tingled, same. What was supposed to read as cool, big bro energy now feels deeply unsettling. The vibe hit a whole new level of unhinged when Bieber, prompted by Diddy about how to spend their 48 hours, said, "Let's just go get some girls." To which Diddy replied, "The man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid." In 2024, that clip would incinerate the internet. Cancel culture? On speed dial. Their public alliance continued into 2010. In February, Bieber, Diddy, and Sean Kingston shared a stage at the SOS, Saving Ourselves, Help for Haiti benefit concert. By July, Bieber was spotted driving Diddy's Lamborghini, delivering on that 2009 promise. Back then, it was played off as a rich mentor rite of passage. But now, big groomer vibes energy in the retelling. In December 2010, they reunited to film promo for Diddy's last train to Paris. But something felt off. Diddy gifted Bieber a Bad Boy Entertainment varsity jacket, basically a badge of honor in the industry, and asked why they hadn't been hanging out. Bieber's response? All awkward stammer and, "I don't think you have my number." Cue the TikTok body language analysts. It was giving major distancing energy. By February 2011, the weirdness reached its peak. The two appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live together, with Diddy playing up the Big Brother persona. He talked about protecting Bieber, calling him family, but then he dropped that line. He knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Full body cringe. That sentence alone could break Twitter today. Theories would spin, podcasts would drop, and hashtags would fly. The crossover episodes didn't stop there. In February 2014, Bieber showed up at Diddy's party in Atlanta, rubbing shoulders with Rick Ross and T.I. The bromance stayed intact, at least publicly. In 2015, for Bieber's 21st birthday, they filmed content together, drinking tequila. Diddy claimed it was Justin's first shot ever, which was objectively cap given Bieber's later admissions about early teen substance use. It was giving PR cleanup disguised as party content. For his 22nd birthday in 2016, Diddy gifted him yet another bad boy jacket, with Bieber flexing in the gear on Instagram. The moment was curated for stans, visually reinforcing that Bieber was still part of the bad boy circle. They maintained a soft connection over the years. In 2023, Bieber featured on Diddy's track moments from the Love album, Off the Grid, even tagging Diddy on X, formerly Twitter. It was his last public acknowledgement of the mogul before everything imploded. Then came the plot twist that blindsided the timeline, Diddy's downfall arc. On September 26, 2024, Diddy was arrested on serious charges, sending shockwaves through the internet and throwing his entire career into chaos. Cue the internet detectives. Old footage, especially the 48 hours video, resurfaced faster than a canceled influencer's Notes app apology. TikTok and X threads exploded, connecting dots and questioning whether Bieber had been placed in toxic environments as a minor. The reaction? Divided chaos. Half of the timeline was trending, to protect Justin. The other half was yelling, show us the receipts. It hit peak delusion when an AI-generated song titled Lost Myself at a Diddy party went viral on TikTok. The track, falsely attributed to Bieber, featured lines like, I was in it for a new Ferrari, but it cost me way more than my soul. The algorithm ate it up because it fit the narrative. Even though the song was fake, the vibes were too on brand. Meanwhile, Bieber? Crickets. Since August 2023, he's been in full dad mode with son Jack Blues Bieber, radiating soft life energy. Sources close to him say he's completely disgusted by the allegations and has no plans to speak out, choosing family over firestorms. Others say he's shut down the topic entirely, serving maximum self-preservation. And yet, the internet won't let it go. A Justice for Justin movement has emerged alongside wider calls for child star protections. Suddenly, the industry's meme-scene exploitative model is under fire, and Bieber's history with Diddy is being re-examined with the same intensity as Usher's past. Usher, after all, lived with Diddy at 13 and later made cryptic comments about witnessing curious things at parties. The parallel? Feeding the conspiracy content machine. Still, with Bieber staying silent, it's all speculation. For now. But even without a formal statement, the speculation has reopened conversations about Bieber's mental health and whether his struggles trace back to industry trauma. Let's rewind the origin story. Justin Drew Bieber entered the chat on March 1, 1994, in London, Ontario, born to 18-year-old parents Patty Millett and Jeremy Bieber, whose relationship was giving zero stability. The two never married and split early. Patty raised Justin in low-income housing in Stratford, working multiple jobs while Jeremy dipped in and out of Bieber's life, disappearing entirely for a year when Justin was 4, only to return dramatically on Father's Day. Cue the father wound that therapy TikTok warns about. It's the kind of emotional gap that can make a child gravitate toward older male figures in search of validation. And Patty, she had her own trauma. In her 2012 memoir, Nowhere But Up, she revealed she was sexually abused starting at age 3, battled substance use, and attempted to end her life at 17. That generational trauma undoubtedly impacted her parenting and set the stage for an unstable emotional environment. In his 2021 GQ profile, Bieber said he was drawn to his pastor's family because they represented the emotional stability he never had. Combined with poverty and dysfunction, his upbringing created the perfect storm for a mental health spiral once fame hit. At just 12, he placed second in a local talent show. Patty uploaded the performance to YouTube, and in 2007, Scooter Braun stumbled upon it. By 13, Justin was signed to RBMG Records. 1 year later, his debut EP My World dropped, and by 15, Baby turned him into the face of a global teen movement. In a 2019 Instagram post, Bieber reflected on the psychological toll of instant fame. I went from a 13-year-old boy from a small town to being praised left and right. I started believing it. He explained how the parasocial love bombing distorted his reality, noting that a teenager's brain isn't even equipped to handle that kind of pressure. The industry machine didn't help. Bieber admitted he was miserable after signing his record deal, so much so that he hid his passport. To avoid touring, the grind culture turned toxic fast. That pressure led him to substances early. In his 2020 YouTube docuseries Seasons, Bieber confessed he first smoked weed at 12 or 13. "I got super stoned and realized I liked weed a lot." That escalated. By 19, he was in full addiction mode, using MDMA, mushrooms, Xanax, and more. "I was waking up in the morning and the first thing I was doing was popping pills and smoking a blunt. It got scary." His team even checked his pulse at night to make sure he hadn't overdosed. In Vogue 2019, Bieber admitted he used Xanax to block out the shame from what he described as a promiscuous phase. "I used Xanax because I was so ashamed." At the same time, he was battling depression and anxiety. On Instagram, he wrote about waking up with dread, feeling like things would never get better, and even hinted at suicidal thoughts. He eventually sought help, therapy, doctors, and in 2020, a brain scan at Amen Clinics. That visit revealed neurological patterns previously misdiagnosed as bipolar disorder. "I was struggling with my emotions, relationships, even my speech. I didn't know why." By 20, Bieber felt like the world hated him. Arrests, scandals, and media mockery painted him as the fallen child star. His redemption arc began with faith. In 2014, he was baptized by Pastor Carl Lentz, pre-scandal, and began his spiritual rebrand. By 2020, he told Zane Lowe, "When you accept Jesus, you walk with the Holy Spirit." Through Hillsong and Church Home, Bieber finally found something that fame couldn't give him: purpose, healing, and stability. And that's where he remains today: private, protective, and focusing on his family, whether or not he ever speaks. On Diddy, one thing is clear: Baby Bibbs was never built for the mess the industry dropped him into. And now, the world is finally asking why no one protected him sooner.
I just went deep into I believed in Jesus, but I never really when it says following Jesus is actually turning away from sin. And so there's no, what it talks about in the Bible, it's there's no obedience. There's no faith without obedience. So it's I had faith about I believe Jesus died on the cross for me, but I never really implemented it into my life. I never was I'm gonna be obedient. So I was I wasn't sleeping.
Justin Bieber's Wifey Era with Hailey Baldwin, starting in 2018, was supposed to be his final boss-level healing arc. And in many ways, it was. But it came with a plot twist. Marriage didn't fix everything. In a 2022 Apple Music interview, Bieber peeled back the curtain on the early days of their relationship and dropped a truth bomb that echoed across therapy TikTok. "I hit a little bit of an emotional breakdown because I thought marriage was going to fix all my problems, and it didn't. It was raw, it was real, and it was the kind of growth mindset energy that screamed inner work in progress." Like so many trauma survivors, Bieber believed the fairy tale ending would magically undo the pain. But the ring didn't rewrite the wounds. Big yikes, but also big evolution. Despite the emotional speed bumps, his relationship with Hailey became a grounding force. In a 2021 GQ cover story, Bieber got candid about what stability finally looked like for him. "I have a wife who I adore, who I feel comforted by. I feel safe. I feel like my relationship with God is wonderful. And I have this outpouring of love that I want to share with people." From chaotic teen idol to soft launch. Husband energy, this chapter marked a true glow-up. But the mental health journey, still a bumpy road. In March 2025, Bieber shared a gut-wrenching update on Instagram, revealing that he felt like he was drowning and struggling to let go of hate. Proof that old trauma still lingered under the surface. Just a year earlier, in April 2024, he posted a tear-streaked selfie that broke the algorithm. It wasn't clout chasing, it was peak vulnerability content. By March 2025, he was again brutally honest with fans, admitting he felt like a fraud and was still battling anger issues. It wasn't a pity party, it was transparency. He was reminding everyone, healing isn't linear. Now, as Diddy's passed, behavior resurfaces and old clips from Bieber's teen years under Combs' mentorship go viral again, fans are deeply concerned. Sources close to Justin say he's completely shutting down and refusing to comment on the allegations, an emotional shutdown many are interpreting as a trauma response. Online, theories are spiraling. People can't help but wonder, what role, if any, did Diddy really play in Justin's mental health struggles? The speculation only grows as Diddy's own legal crisis reaches final boss levels of scandal. Once a hip-hop titan with a billion-dollar empire across music, fashion, spirits, and media, Sean Diddy Combs is now starring in what feels like a real-life crime docuseries with federal agents, lawsuits, and receipts that just keep coming. It all started in November 2023, when Cassie Ventura, Diddy's ex of 10-plus years, filed a bombshell lawsuit that detonated across the internet. She accused him of years of physical abuse, coercion, and control throughout their relationship from 2007 to 2018. Though Diddy's legal team shut it down fast with an undisclosed settlement bag, the energy was, this is just the beginning. And it was. Cassie's lawsuit kicked off a cancellation avalanche. Over 60 more lawsuits came forward, some dating as far back as 1991, with shocking claims of sexual misconduct and assault. The feds took notice. On March 25, 2024, federal agents raided Diddy's homes in LA and Miami in full raidcore fashion. They seized unregistered firearms, substances, surveillance footage, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. Prosecutors linked the finds to alleged freak-offs, adult trafficking events that are now central to Diddy's ongoing criminal case. Then came the visual nail in the coffin. On May 19, 2024, CNN leaked chilling CCTV footage from 2016, showing Diddy physically assaulting Cassie in a Los Angeles hotel hallway. The video, undeniably graphic, showed him grab, shove, kick, and drag her. Diddy responded with a classic Notes app apology, claiming he was disgusted by his own actions. But by then, it was far too late. The public wasn't just done. They were incensed. The internet had shifted. And now, everything, including his relationship with Bieber, is under the microscope.
Behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab.
The Consequences era finally crashed down on Sean Diddy Combs on September 16, 2024, when the hip-hop mogul turned tabloid main character was hit with a legal triple threat: arrest, indictment, and the full-blown villain origin story. The old charges, racketeering conspiracy, trafficking for adult acts, and transportation to engage in adult work. No notes. And if that wasn't chaotic enough, the next day's indictment reveal poured even hotter tea. Prosecutors alleged that Diddy had been running a full-scale criminal enterprise, complete with coerced sex acts, forced labor, and high-level intimidation, since at least 2008. The news broke the internet, dominating headlines for days with a vibe that screamed true crime docuseries incoming. Then came the legal gut punch. On September 18, 2024, a federal judge denied Diddy's bail, citing major witness intimidation energy. That ruling locked him into his jailbird arc at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where he's been living rent-free while the legal saga unfolds. And it didn't stop there. The feds kept stacking the case with superseding indictments, basically legal sequels with even darker plot twists. On January 30, 2025, new charges expanded the racketeering narrative to include 2 additional female victims and criminal behavior going all the way back to 2004. By March 6th, prosecutors tacked on forced labor claims, alleging Diddy ruled his inner circle with threats, manipulation, and psychological control. Then came April 4th, when the story got even more chilling. 2 new counts tied to victim 2 added allegations of trafficking and unaliving spanning from 2021 to 2024. At this point, the charges weren't just painting a picture of power abuse, they were building an entire cinematic universe of criminality. Still, Diddy has kept pleading not guilty at every turn, giving innocent until proven guilty energy, while his legal team runs every delay tactic in the book. But Judge Aaron Subramanian, no nonsense and clearly not here for games, shut that down on April 18th, rejecting their attempt to delay the trial by 2 months. The vibe? Nice try, but absolutely not. Then, on April 25th, 2025, two massive bombshells dropped. First, Judge Subramanian ruled that the 2016 surveillance video of Diddy assaulting Cassie, yes, that viral hotel hallway footage, would be admissible as evidence, locking in one of the most damning visual receipts of the case. Second, insiders spilled that Diddy had rejected a plea deal. Though the terms remain sealed in legal mystery box mode, experts say the charges he's facing aren't light. 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of trafficking for adult acts by force, fraud or coercion, 2 counts of transportation to engage in adult work. The alleged crimes span 2 decades, from 2004 to 2024, suggesting what prosecutors call a long-standing criminal enterprise masquerading as a lifestyle brand. At the center of the government's case are the infamous freak-offs, allegedly drug-fueled adult-themed events with coerced participants, many of which were filmed. Prosecutors claim Diddy used his fame, fortune, and entourage to cover up abuse and silence victims, using wealth as both carrot and stick. If convicted, particularly on the trafficking charges, Diddy could be facing life in federal prison. This isn't just cancellation, it's obliteration. The legal saga United States vs. Combs officially kicked off on May 5, 2025, with jury selection at the Daniel Patrick Moynihan U.S. Courthouse in Manhattan. The process was intense. Over 100 potential jurors were screened, with Diddy reportedly serving shaky hands and somber stares in the courtroom. By May 12th, a final jury of 12 members and 6 alternates was seated, and opening statements dropped immediately, setting the tone for the high-stakes courtroom drama to come. Prosecutors didn't hold back. They painted Diddy not as a misunderstood mogul, but as a dangerous manipulator running a violent 20-year empire of abuse cloaked in fame. Their narrative included arson, bribery, kidnapping, obstruction, and SA, with a focus on the emotional and physical trauma left in his wake. They claimed he beat a girlfriend for cheating, kidnapped an employee, and orchestrated the freak-offs as covert trafficking events, with video evidence showing assaults on both Cassie and another woman, known only as Jane. The prosecution promised that once the jury saw those tapes, there'd be no room for doubt. Diddy's defense, meanwhile, was giving alternate timeline energy. They portrayed him as a complicated man, not a criminal one, blaming the allegations on love, jealousy, infidelity, and clout chasing. They admitted to Diddy's jealousy issues, temper problems, kinks, and substance use, but insisted the adult activities were consensual, more swinger lifestyle than sex trafficking. In a classic courtroom rebrand, they emphasized his government name, Sean Combs, over the Diddy persona, an attempt to humanize him and soften the image of a mogul, spiraling into criminal chaos. The evidence lineup is already looking like a digital tsunami. Key pieces include the 2016 Cassie assault video recordings from alleged freak-off events, where participants supposedly needed IV drips afterward due to physical exhaustion over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants seized from his home's financial records, and security footage documenting the movement of alleged victims. The witness list is stacked too. Cassie Ventura is the centerpiece, expected to testify about her toxic relationship with Diddy and the abuse that finally reached the public eye. 4 more accusers, including 2 women from the recent indictments, will also take the stand, sharing stories of coercion, violence, and systemic control. But in true courtroom plot twist fashion, reports claim that one key female victim, central to the trafficking charges, has gone MIA, throwing a wrench into the prosecution's strategy and adding even more uncertainty to an already volatile case.